title, your position doesn't really matter. It has come to a situation where the currency on which you are going to be evaluated is the value you all bring to the table. Just because you are in a higher position and you take the credit of your good team is not going to exist long. The only currency that we believe we can make a difference to you is the value that each one of you bring to the table. And yesterday I was driving from the airport to the hotel along with your colleagues, and he asked me a question, what do you think we should do after my graduation? I said, each one of you has a passion. Each one of you are a leader in your own area. You nurture the passion and, if possible, be an entrepreneur. Touch the lives of many people around you. And I was sharing with your professor this morning that if you expect the government to do everything for you, it's not going to happen. I recently interacted with the former president of Mexico, Vincent de Fox. He was actually the former CEO of Coca-Cola Latin America before he became the president. He came to India to look at how our education systems are organized, what is there in the 12th plan outlay, and he shared me an interesting fact. Even though we have a very inefficient government, and we see a lot of scams and all those things in the newspaper every day, we still have a 6 to 7% GDP growth, which is fantastic, as far as I am concerned. And these people, with all the kind of support, they've been able to achieve only 4%, 3 to 4% of GDP growth. So they wanted to really understand what is that we are doing differently. So even though we talk and hear a lot of negativities about India as a country, I truly believe the push has to come from the bottom, you jumping into entrepreneurship. I am sure that with your background and your experience and the mentoring that you're getting from the best in the world, you create value, you create wealth for yourself, you create wealth for your family, you create wealth for the community that you belong to, and create wealth for the country. Once again, thank you very much for your time. I'm more than happy to have any questions you may have. Thank you.
Mr. Alex, good morning. I'm Sridhar from PGP1. In one of the points you were telling, actually, the customer relationship and also focusing on, even though the less number of customers and a deeper relationship, that trend has been working for Indian service industry for quite a long time. And but in the recent years, we have seen some of the big players actually losing a lot of the relationship or business because of the long-standing relationship with few of the customers. To quote an example, maybe Nortel, when Nortel actually went bankrupt, some of the bigger players actually lost quite a big stake in their business as well, and also in the global industry. So how, as a company, like as a service-based company, where our customers are our biggest assets, not actually the the value proposition, more than that, the customer relationship is considered to be the best key competency for us. So how can a company, as a company, we can evaluate when exactly we can do strategic strategic decisions to sustain our customers as well as our business? So
yeah, it's a great question, Sridhar. We actually went through the same thing. Many people come back and ask us, is this model going to sustain? And what we did actually is, when we say fewer customers, what is really important is the deeper relationship part of it. So if you take it your personal case, how many true friends that you can have? Can you have hundreds of true friends? You may probably have a few of true friends, right? So that is the philosophy. But I think where you have very intimate relationship, right? So the key is, how do you make sure that you create a framework where the focus is more in terms of the attention part than the few. The few is a very, very relative terminology. You can have great relationship with 5, you can have extremely good relationship with 100, or you can have fantastic relationship with thousands. It all depends on how we create an ecosystem for that. We actually went through the same thing. Today we have only 60 customers, by the way. And even for our CEO to talk to CIOs, it probably will be a stretch. But what we did is actually we created something like a company within a company. We were one geography unit, until maybe 5 years ago. We split up into geography space, like, east of, northeast of US, Asia, Pacific, those geographies. And each headed by a very senior personality in the company, who is fully empowered to take decision, who continue to provide the kind of same kind of relationships. That model actually really worked. I think the model that which fail is when you scale, especially this happened for large corporations where it has gone public, where the focus gets shifted to, the business model to the shareholders. That is where I think, the shift happens. And in today, in fact, if you look at all the tier 1 companies in India has gone public, their responsibility and the focus is more in terms of what is the earnings per share I make this quarter, what is that I need to do, get the analyst predictions, or the commitment that became the analysts. So that is where I think the traditional model actually have failed to support the changing business pattern. So I think I truly believe we constantly need to evolve such things, so that at the end of the day, when we get customers, one of the questions we ask is, if you talk to Walmart, if you talk to Costco or Safeway, one of the largest retailers, everybody is there. And we get business just because they see a dilution in terms of the support they give. And if we get there and lose the dilution, you lose the connection and relationship, we are also going to be in the same boat. So our intent was to make sure that they create that ecosystem, so that you create more and more leaders and trust in the leadership, and they continue to provide the same kind of relationship.
Good morning, sir. Myself, Conclave Bhattacharya. I teach economics at TAPMI. My research area is Indian IT industry. Due to PhD work and other works, I'm working on this industry. I thank you for your wonderful talk. I have just 2 queries. First is, as you said that in your company, the American lifestyle means calling somebody 70-year-old by his first name. Okay, so means non-hierarchy, as you pointed out. For example, my very senior colleague, Professor Vasudev Rao, I can never think of calling him by his first name. He's as old as my father. Okay, question is, if I call somebody by my first name, does it eradicate the hierarchy? With an Indian mindset, means I'm an Indian, my values are different, but the American values are superimposed on me. Do you think it eradicates hierarchy? Number 1. Number 2, I feel it doesn't. Because I have seen the American companies, hierarchy is even more strong, though it is existing in a clandestine manner.
Right.
Number 1. Number 2, second is you talked about the people as senior management, as you rightly said, that we talk about people, not about the financial parameters. I truly agree with you. The question is, notwithstanding all the efforts the private sector is taking, employee well-being, competency, motivation, unlike a public sector where nothing is done. Nothing exists, but an employee enters the organization at the age of say 25 and stays with the organization for 40 long years. Unlike the private sector, notwithstanding all their efforts, is unable to retain the employee, and the attrition rate for the industry is hovering around 20%. So what is your take on this?
Yeah, first question, about the, breaking the hierarchical mindset of, contrary to probably the Indian culture. I would say when you are in a global environment, we thought it is very relevant to set some patterns and culture which is scalable. Today, when you go and talk to many of the customers, they come from different cultures. Okay, and one of the biggest problem that we hear from, especially customers for North America, is, we never can say no when we really know that it is not going to work. it's part of the culture. But it's not working in our favor. You say, guys, looking at your face, I really don't know. You nod your head, and sometimes like this, we can't really figure out whether you're going to do it or not. And when we say we'll do it, but even though for sure that we can't do it. So, and when we see that as a barrier in terms of your own growth, in terms of having stronger relationship with things, I think we thought this trait, I mean, the idea was not to disrespect people, but the idea is to make sure that you break the hierarchical mindset and build confidence and talk freely to them. That was the intent. The intent is that when after 22 years of college life, and then finally you joined university and go back and say, when I come back to the campus, I'll still call you sir. So I think the intent was to break that hierarchical mindset and build confidence to say, when I talk to Professor Mohan Kumar, I should be able to get his wisdom, and he should be able to appreciate the learning that I have, which I would say it's something which is lacking in the academy at this point in time. But I think that probably will definitely help. I think the second question was in terms of attrition, and again this came up in the journey we had yesterday. I truly believe that the fundamental reason for the attrition is primarily because of the managers. People don't leave organization, people leave the managers. And many of you are with family, when you look at your son and daughter every day, if you see a facial expression difference, you can't make out that he is happy or not happy. If you have a fever, if she has a fever or not, right? You're very, very good in thinking. But how many of the managers talk to their team members and spend 10% of their personal time talking about how your family is doing, how your children are doing? Very little. And we do exit interviews, and I'm sure that you will share this. 90% of the cases, it is the conflict that happens between the managers and their immediate supervisors. So that is where I said, when you join as a top-notch techie to start with, after 2 years, because of your sheer performance, they make you a project lead, but you never become a people manager, and there starts your decline. So I think it's very, very important that we, especially in this industry, we are all equal, but we do different jobs. We need to respect those things, and we also need to make sure that we also develop the people management attributes while you learn, because that is going to play a big role. And very few people leave for money, in my opinion, because what gives you happiness may not be money all the time. And we have seen over a period of time based on the exit interviews. So attrition, of course, it is inevitable because opportunities are there. But I would say some of the best people management practices could definitely increase the stickiness to the organization. And I'm sure that HR forum and they're all constantly doing research to bring in world-class employee engagement practices.
So you said that people all over the world praise Indian culture. Now when you say Indian culture also says that we generally do not say no for things, as you just said. So it is like if someone calls me up in the middle of the night, I will not say no. But if you go to other countries, even if you call them post their office times, if their office times ends at 6 o'clock, if you call them at 6:15, they'll be like, okay, we are out of office and we will not work. So do you think that this mindset of Indians need to be changed, or do you think that we should continue with it because that is the reason that Indians are being given jobs or something?
Great question. So I would say, if the North American people picks the call when you call their midnight and say yes and do whatever you want them to do, I don't think the work will come to India. We will not have an opportunity to play. So the fact that culturally aligned to take up as much as possible, I would say the intent was when you think that you can't do the job, you should say no. When you think that you can get the work done, say yes and do it. And I think that is something which, I would probably say. I think, that culture should stay. Our ability to make a partner successful, irrespective of the constraints of your working and the constraints of that, what you go through, that is the culture which is make us, I would say, grow much more. And that is where the opportunity is. Today, most of the work come to India because they have the confidence that even in the middle of the night, there will be somebody to support you. Of course, you need to convert that into a financial model, but that is where I think culturally that is something that we win over the rest of the population. So my answer is I think definitely that those cultural elements should continue, but I think when you don't think that you can do certain things, say no. That's.
There are so many small companies coming up, and they are offering more or less the same services to its clients, to their clients. So my question is, as a budding entrepreneur, or if I want to start up my own company, what should be my main focus? Should it be price that I offer to my clients, or should it be technical expertise or the business expertise I offer to my clients?
This is like a chicken and egg situation, and I mean, like the idea is, as an entrepreneur, you definitely bring some value which someone else is not providing. Okay, otherwise your existence itself will be a big question. And price, I would say, is only a secondary thing. And today, I think most of the customers are willing to pay a premium for some of the things which they think there is a value. Okay, so from a true business perspective, you need to get into something which is going to really add value to your end consumers. That is for sure. And price becomes secondary at this point in time. I think it'll probably a part of your business model for you to sustain things, right? And I never experienced that price has always been a consideration, unless it is like a commodity where you buy a Mendo for 5 paise versus 4 paise versus so people definitely ready to give a premium for the value that you deliver. So I would say value probably should be your consideration, and then the rest will fall in place. All right, if you don't have any more questions, and it is a pleasure interacting with you, and thank you very much, and wish you the very best for the rest of the programs. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insights and also for taking our questions. TAPMI fosters learning not just through academics, but also through events outside of the class by organizing various competitions, various events. One such competition was the article writing competition about the various challenges facing the world today. I again invite Mr. Alexander Varghese to give away the certificates to the prize winners. The first prize was secured by Mr. Amartya Day for his article on e-waste management. The second prize was secured by Mr. Siddharth Panigrahi and Mr. Shavalar Mayur for their article on analytics, a perspective. A special certificate is being given to Mr. Nitish Mayawala for designing the logo of SummIT 2012. Thank you, sir. I now invite our Dean Administration, Professor Vasudev Rao, to address us.
Esteemed Chief Guest, Mr. Alexander Varghese, our resource persons and guest of honor, Srini Govindaraju and Pratham Hegde, Professor Mohan Kumar and Aithar, who were the key organizing force for this summit, and the group of IT team, my faculty and staff colleagues, and dear students. I think this year we have a series of events or conclaves, and it shows that IT is not behind. We had conclave on HR area, marketing, and finance. So for the first time, summit has been planned and organized very well by the IT team of the institute. Students have taken active interest in organizing the event, and personally and from the institute side, we appreciate and congratulate the team for effectively organizing this conclave. I hope, as usual, this becomes the precedence, and next year onwards, Summit 2013-14 all roll on. That is the part of the present things, what is happening on the conclaves. Good efforts have been made to get industry experts. It is a tough task to get them to Manipal from far off places. I think from that point of view, the interface that we are trying to have with the industries, particularly IT industry, is going to be more closer and thicker, and all of us, including all our students, will be the beneficiaries. Mr. Alexander Varghese said that his company started with 14 people and 1 laptop. Our institute started with less than 10 computers in early 80s, and I think 1 faculty and 1 support staff. I think over the year, we have been able to strengthen our IT infrastructure and as well as the support staff and our faculty team. It is difficult to get IT faculty, and I think most of them are in the industry, so it's difficult to get them back to the thing. So this forum or this conclave, I think what has been the gap, that how do we